Hiya! Thank you for joining me today. Today I want to talk about a film which I watched recently, which is called The Shape of Water. This is another film which is in the sort of Oscars hunt. It's up there with Three Billboards and I, Tonya and some of the other great films that I've watched from the back end of last year. Now, this film is directed by Guillermo del Toro. It stars Sally Hawkins of Paddington and Paddington 2 fame. It also has Michael Shannon, you have Michael Stuhlbarg, we have Richard Jenkins, and Doug Jones doing his creature work incredibly well, as he always does. Now, the film is essentially a romantic love story, which is telling the story of Sally Hawkins' character, who is called Elisa, and she is a mute woman who sort of lives alone. She has one friend who lives in the apartment next to her, and she works in it's sort of a government laboratory type place. And through her job, where she is cleaning along with Octavia Spencer, they are the two of the women that do cleaning in the place. They are introduced to Doug Jones, who is playing what I guess you call an amphibian man. What, for want of a better term, looks very much like a merman, essentially. So this is a secret. Michael Shannon has brought this creature, this thing, in from the jungles of South America, and they are looking to study it. There's a bit of a Cold War communism, East-West type vibe going on, where we have Russian interest in this creature, and there's a sort of thought of how some of this creature's biological traits could help advance either the Soviets or the Americans in the space race. So for me, the first thing to say about the film is that it is a beautiful cinematic masterpiece. Guillermo del Toro is quite famous for creating these intricate sort of environments, these creatures, these quite scary and yet appealing either animatronics or CGI, etc. He's done this with Pan's Labyrinth. He did it with Hellboy. Obviously, he's worked quite a lot with Doug Jones. One thing I would say about this is I'm going to assume that there was obviously most of what was done was sort of physical prop work with Doug Jones's character, the sort of amphibious man. But if there was any CGI involved, it was seamless. I didn't notice anything whatsoever. I'm sure there must have been CGI for some of the swimming scenes, etc. It's seamless. It's perfect. It's really amazing the way they've managed to create this sort of environment, and they've mixed up this worldly human sort of world environment with the underwater type environment. Now, the story of Elisa, which is she is a mute woman. She has these scars on her neck, which she's had since she was a baby. She's never not had these scars. She's unable to talk, she can hear, and she communicates through sign language. Now, she has this interesting relationship with her next door neighbor. They have a very, very fun dynamic, but essentially the two of them are lone in the world apart from each other. She has a job. She has people who clearly look out for her and help her, as Octavia Spencer does. And she's obviously very well liked, but she's something of a loner. And what I think I was going into this film with quite high expectations, and for a film where you go in with high expectations, I was still pleasantly surprised at just how sweet, how charming, how endearing this film is, both in its character play from two main characters who, for the vast majority of the film, never speak. They are unable to communicate verbally, and yet you have what was for me a very, very believable and quite intense love story at the heart of this. And I can imagine how, to be honest, the fact that they can't speak probably makes that something that's, if anything, more believable. It's if there was language and communication, and if it was simply talking to each other, then you know you have to actually hear the words that people say, and sometimes these things sound clumsy, particularly when you've got such obviously different species trying to interact with each other. The fact that it was all done through this mute communication, or through sign language, or through understanding of glances and meaning and intent from physical language, was, I think, very helpful to the film. Now, prior to watching this, I had got Frances McDormand as my sort of #1 lead of all the films I've seen going into this year for the Best Actress category at the Oscars. I have to say now that Sally Hawkins has entered that race for me, and this is a quieter performance. It's no less powerful. It is definitely as powerful, but for me, Sally Hawkins has less to work with because she cannot have that shock value that you can get with 3 Billboards. Now, I mean, for me, they're now in neck and neck in direct contention. I don't have a particular favourite. I'd be happy if either of them won. I'd be certainly very happy if either of them won the Oscar for that. But I would say that for me, the more intricate performance is from Sally Hawkins because she has so much less to work with. She has so much more to do with less at her disposal. And she's really wonderful in this film. It's an incredibly believable story. Now, as you'd expect, a guy who, for me, even in anything I've seen him in, is always menacing, is always intensely believable, is Michael Shannon. And in this film again, Michael Shannon is excellent. Menacing, evil. He's so hateable. And yet you can fear him. He's got such a sort of powerful on-screen presence. For me, this is, again, another great performance from Michael Shannon. It adds to things. Even in bad films, like I think it was The Iceman, he's still great in bad films. And this is a great film, and he's excellent in it. Another guy I think I'd give a quick shout out to is Michael Stuhlbarg, because he's been in so many things this year. He's been everywhere this year. And it's great to see him in this again. He's doing great character actor work. I like him as he's a very interesting guy to have in these films. He's always very sympathetic. He's got sort of sad eyes, which I guess can always get you on his side. He plays that sort of thoughtful, pensive character extremely well, and he's great here again. Octavia Spencer's very funny. Times there's good humour in this film. There's nice little chuckle moments. And overall, I found it a very touching and compelling love story, albeit a very unusual one with interesting characters. So I would recommend the film. I'm going to go out and say this for me is a 9 out of 10. It's a lovely film. I'd absolutely watch it again. It's definitely worth seeing in cinema. I think on the big screen you can really appreciate the work that Guillermo del Toro is doing. And I don't know, I don't really feel that passionate this year about the sort of Best Director Oscar race. But if Guillermo won, I'd be super happy for him. I think it's a great film. It's a challenging subject matter to get right, and particularly to keep an audience sort of engrossed in what's happening without it getting silly, or without people treating it as if it's silly, even when it really, really isn't. So, well done film, excellent, 9 out of 10, definitely worth watching in cinema. So, if anyone's seen the film, look forward to hearing from you. It's great to hear from you down in the comments down below. I love this one. I'm interested to see if anyone's got any particular viewpoint on how well this one came across and what their experience was in the cinema. I was sat behind 2 people who giggled at 1 or 2 points. They were, let's face it, quite mature women, 2 women. They were relatively mature. I don't know if it's funny to see boobs or something. I'm not quite sure what their thing was, but whatever. They giggled at a couple of points. But other than that, the audience was really kind of engrossed in this one, and yeah, it was silence all the way through. It was fantastic to hear people really getting into this story, which is a bit quirky. Anyway, love to hear from you down below. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this film. If you have seen it, if you haven't seen it, if you're planning to see it, etc. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Always, I love getting your comments. You can email me at julietteisnoir@gmail.com. And you can also find me online now on my website, which is www.julietteisnoir.uk. And I'll put the links down in the description below. Okay, great talking to you again. Look forward to talking to you again next time. And as always, bye! Bye!